Hello, I'm Kat and welcome to my channel. This is a bit of a different video today. It's a cat makes something video, not a cat learns something video. It's also a bit of a different video because today I'm trying out the microphone because my husband has told me that some of my earlier videos were a bit quiet because I was using my phone for audio, but now I've got whatever kind of mic this is that we had lying around, and I'm going to give that a go and we'll see how that turns out. So today I'm going to try making a bristle knife block. If you've seen these, it's basically sort of a nice wooden or metal or bamboo outer, and then inside are some very long bristles, and then you can just put the knives in wherever you fancy and the bristles hold them without blunting them, or at least that's the theory. I'd never heard of such a thing until my sister asked me to make her one for her birthday, and the reason we're making one instead of buying one is because she specifically wants one which is hexagonal shaped, and all of the ones to be found from a cursory search of the internet are square or round and not hexagonal. The reason for a hexagonal one is, I think, to match the tiles in her new kitchen, so there's a theme that's being adhered to. So yeah, the very first thing was to see if I could get bristles on their own. So yeah, I could. I'm not going to be able to make the bristles. I need to be able to buy the bristles. And yeah, I could buy an existing square or round knife block and then throw the outer shell away and make something out of the bristles that they come with. But I thought I'd, to avoid waste, see if I could try and find some bristles on their own. The only one that I could find for delivery that would arrive in time both for her birthday and to give me enough lead time to make things with it for her birthday was one which was, I think it's 9.7 by 8.3. In fact, it's right here, so I can just look those up. Yes, 8.3 by 9.7 centimetres, which I believe came from Germany. So let's pull this out and have a look at it. So this is what the bristled interiors look like. Done a little bit bent. That's okay, we can straighten that out later. So yeah, it's a load of bristles attached at the bottom with some sort of thick plastic that it's melted into. So I figured out that the easiest way to turn a rectangle into a hexagon would be to, at a 60-degree angle to a 30-degree, cut the corners off of the rectangle and then take those corners and flip them over and bring them in to the to make the point at the top and at the bottom. So I'm going to use this black medium thick super glue to glue the pieces in place, and then I've also got this kind of accelerator here which will hopefully speed that drying process up. And I'll use those to attach the bits I've cut off back onto the main bit. I will be opening the windows to work in a well-ventilated area, which might bring its own excitement because it's 40-mile-per-hour winds out there today, but I guess that's better than trying to do it the day after tomorrow when it's due to be 70-mile-per-hour winds out there. Okay, so here we are, and this has been drying overnight, though it's super glue, so it probably didn't need that long. Apologies again for the sound of the raging storm in the background. So I feel like I did a pretty good job on this side, and it's fairly level, and it's also a nice shape in. But on this side, perhaps didn't turn out quite as well. Let's just pull that out so it can get focus. Like there's definitely a lumpier bit here, and I don't know if you can see. It feels like it's higher up here or lower down, given that this is the bottom, so it's not quite in line, but it's a nice hexagon shape. And I've got the elastic bands around just to keep it formed. And yeah, of course it's gone circular at the top, which makes me think like, well, maybe I should have just gotten a circular refill from the get-go and I wouldn't have had to have done the cutting. So while you can sort of see there's a slight line and slightly different levels in the places where the corners are added in. Let's see if we get a good angle on that. Yeah, this bit here. Like, you can definitely tell it's not a homogeneous piece if you're looking hard enough. Let's just tip that. Yeah, you can definitely tell it's not all one piece if you're looking hard enough, but I feel like if you're not really looking that hard and you're just pulling knives in and out of it, the fact that a couple of the corners have slightly higher or slightly bumpier bits is yeah, isn't too noticeable. And of course it doesn't matter that the bottom looks scruffy, because that's going to be on the bottom inside the holder, which is, yeah, the next step. So to make the pieces of wood, I enlisted the help of my husband Dan, who you'll find on YouTube as Make a Geek, and he went down, dug through his wood pile and found some likely looking pieces of wood and cut them into shape for me. So that he also filmed it and cut that into shape. So the next section of this video is going to be much better shot and edited. And if you like a bit more of that, as I say, go check out his channel. Sanding, part one. I'm going to do a sand of the insides of all of these bits before I glue it. So Dan's given me some 120 grit and then some 220 grit to just smooth down the bits which are going to be inside, which are going to be obviously hard to sand down once it's a full structure. So let's crack on with that. sanding all done, what was next was to glue it all together, for which I used Gorilla Wood Glue, and then, as advised by my technical advisor, used masking tape to hold it all together while the glue was drying. Okay, so this is all nice and solid glued together now. The next steps to take with this are to sand it so that it's ready to put a finish on. But the first thing to do is to fill up some of these creases, these gaps here, with a mixture of the glue and some matching colour sawdust, some of which Dan's bought me from his garage. Because of the nature of the tools that we have to make the 60-degree angle, like it was just a table saw set to an angle. These faces aren't perfect, so there is a certain amount of gappiness showing. So with a sawdust and wood filling, that should just make that slightly less noticeable. And then once that's in place, we can go through and give it a good sanding, make it nice and smooth, and then start to think about what to use as a finish. Right, let's take this to the expert. So what do you think? Is it sufficiently sanded or does it need a bit more?
Oh, that looks good.
Oh, this
Feels
is in
good.
fact the expert, not that one.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Looks good, feels good.
So the next thing is to finish. What do you propose or suggest for a food safe finish on that? Oil or wax or something?
Mineral oil will be much easier to apply, I think. I do have some wax, but it's a bit of a fiddle. We could do a quick test on a test piece, one of the pieces that we have, and see what you think about the finishes.
Sounds like a plan.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Hello. So we have two finishes to test that you wanted to try.
Okay.
I've got a couple of the offcuts from making the main pieces. Here we have Mark Oil 82, medical grade white oil, clear odorless, ideal for salad bowls and items used for food.
Oh, nice.
And this is Wood Wax 22, which is conforms to EN71 and is safe for toys, so children can stick it in their mouth and not die. Those are two finishes that are perfectly reasonable for the kitchen.
Okay.
So the question is just applying them. The wood wax is a little bit fiddly, like it prefers to be a bit warmer.
It looks like earwax.
Right, I mean it's wax. It's a little easier to apply as it's warmer, but I've got a rag here that you can use to kind of basically just scoop up some and press in,
Mhm.
wipe on, and kind of buff to see what you think about that, and some kitchen roll to just apply this oil. This is obviously a very just a liquidy thin oil, so just pour it on the cloth and go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this an old pair of your underpants?
It is a pair of underpants that never fit,
Oh, right.
and therefore was just a convenient
And
rag.
therefore is food safe.
Waste not, want not.
Indeed. Is that enough?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't really see where it's going in. Oh, I can if I tip it to the light. But it looks a bit wetter. So I'm guessing obviously because it's like a knife block that the dampest this is ever going to get is, you know, wiped down with a damp cleaning cloth rather than submerged in
Yes.
the sink for cleaning. Right, let me just, where is the, okay, that looks like it's, yeah, on the whole thing.
And you can come back and sort of buff later with a clean cloth and such. Waxes tend to be yeah.
Okay, so we'll turn to the top. So this one is get a bit of a pad, tip the stuff onto that, and then on here.
Yep.
Well, that's elbow grease required for sure. So that's, yeah, that's much quicker. And it looks much shinier. It still looks quite damp. Do I need to use the dry side to remove the excess?
Yeah.
But yeah, that went quite a lot further than I thought. Okay, yeah. That looks pretty nice actually. So does that need to be left to dry and buffed later, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess give them 10 minutes and see what they like after 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Okay, back in the garage after 15 minutes to see how those finishes turned out. Not gonna lie, kind of preferring the oil for a bunch of reasons. It looks like it's finished darker after one coat and will only require one coat. The wax needed a bit more elbow grease to put on and looked a bit more like hard work, and not gonna lie, I'm lazy, so I'm gonna go with the quick and simple oil as the way to finish the knife block. Okay, so all finished, and I'm actually really pretty chuffed with how it turned out. Yeah, that oil finish, oh, really just puts the absolute yeah, just cherry on top. It's quite lovely, and yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and proud to be able to send it to my sister, and I hope she likes it. A couple of notes about the wood that this is made of. So my sister's very big on recycle and reuse and sustainability. So I was very happy that we were able to make this whole thing from wood that's been reclaimed. And it's been reclaimed from this house that we're living in. When we moved in here about, I can't remember now, 6 or 7 years ago, maybe more. It was a bit dated, it was a bit 80s. So we ripped a lot of things out, but my husband, being the hoarder he is, kept a lot of the pieces and has used them in projects since. So the base section here, which is quite a big thick chunk, came from a big piece of wood that was the mantelpiece of the fireplace that was in the lounge when we first got here. And all of this oak, which is what the 6 outer panels are made of, came from the doors of the fitted kitchen that was here when we got here, which was solid oak. And those doors have served Dan well in a whole bunch of projects, though I do believe we are now running to the end of that particular batch of salvaged oak. So yeah, so for stuff we had already in stock, yeah, in fact the only thing that we bought in specially for this project was the bristles. And speaking of, time for them to go into their proper home. Just roll that up a bit, line it up. And yeah, see how that looks. Oh, that is awesome. I'm very chuffed with that, and hopefully my sister will be as well. Yeah, I think it just needs to loosen up a bit after I've had it in the round elastic band for quite a while, and fill out and find the corners. Yeah, for the most part that's really good. So that just leaves the one last thing, is the birthday card to go with the present. So I feel like making somebody a birthday card in the shape of a knife is possibly, could be construed as a threatening gesture, but I'm hoping that in the context it'll be seen as a sweet gesture. Let's just snug that in there. There we go. Hexagonal knife block. So I guess all that remains to say is thank you for watching, and yeah, I hope you have a smashing day.